What is going on, YouTube? ModzvilleUSA here, back with another video. And today's going to be a special little project that I've been looking forward to doing. I've got this Super Famicom controller here. And would you look at that? This is a Gamecube extension cable. And this is a little circuit board from RAFnet. Now what we're going to be doing is converting this Super Nintendo Super Famicom pad into a controller for the Nintendo Gamecube or the Nintendo Wii if your Wii has Gamecube ports on it. Now you may be wondering, why the hell am I doing this? Why would you want to use a Super Nintendo controller on a Gamecube? Well, my Gamecube, it's all pimped out with a GC loader, a GB player, and Swiss, all that homebrew. Now with some way of booting into homebrew, you are able to run a program called GBI. What GBI does is allows you to use the Game Boy player for the Nintendo Gamecube without the original software disc that it's supposed to come with, and it's a much better program than the official Nintendo one anyway. Now this is the best way to capture your Game Boy Advance, your Game Boy, and your Game Boy Color games on modern displays, especially if you have some sort of HDMI solution for your Gamecube. I have the Eon MK2, which is a very nice little digital out to HDMI converter that sits in the back. It's a very, very nice device. There's other hard mods too to just straight up solder an HDMI port. But you do need the Dole 101 model. I believe it's the 101. The one with the digital out port on it. So if you've ever played a Game Boy game with a GameCube controller, you might understand why I want to do this. It's not a great controller for the for that kind of stuff. I'd much rather have a Snes controller, something like this. And the only official thing out there, or close to official thing out there that's close enough, is the Hori pad. And the Hori pads go for about $200 for a used controller. And it's basically a SNES controller. Maybe one extra button, I believe. Not worth it. So we're taking this crappy $3 Super Famicom controller, $20 circuit board, and this was like 4 for $15. Much cheaper. So we're going to hack this up, install this circuit board, swap out this cable, install this cable. We're going to have a much longer controller cable, as Super Famicom controllers are, you know, it's not very long. SNES controllers much longer. Super Famicom, not very long at all. So yeah, not the best quality. It's a little yellowed. Doesn't matter to me. I'm looking for functionality. I want a decent controller for my Game Boy player on my GameCube. So let's hack this thing apart and get into it. Also, I've got everything linked in the description below. That's something, if you want to do this, follow along at home. It links to circuit boards, extenders, and I believe you could probably source your own SNES controller, but I'll link you something anyway. All right, let's get into it. Cool, I'm going to start by taking this guy apart. Also, I'd like to add too that this circuit that we're going to be installing can also be used for a NES controller, if that's what you prefer. If you're playing Game Boy Color games exclusively on your GB player, you might want a Nest controller instead. But I really love the Snes controller. I believe it's quite versatile, and it'll get the job done for 2-button games just fine. We can also use one of these circuits. I actually did indeed buy 2 of these, and I might do a separate video on the other one there to make an adapter that goes female SNES plug to Game Boy or GameCube plug, so we can just plug any regular SNES controller into it, which will be nice for the 8-bit DOE adapters if I want to do this on my HD TV and have a wireless setup. Okay, so this is what we got. So this will mount just very nicely, like right here. The extension cable will go out. There's plenty of room in here to work with. That is nice to know. Okay. Cool. Okay. Yuck. So we got some pretty gross looking membranes there, unfortunately. We're gonna clean the hell out of this. We're gonna put all the buttons. Ooh, yeah, look at that. This is a grimy boy. That's a grimy boy. We're gonna clean this all out pretty vigorously. What I like to do is get a little dish of soap and hot water and just let the membranes and stuff sit, and like to massage all the gunk out. And then I run it through a strainer, a spaghetti strainer, just to get all that crap right on out of there. And we got this guy here. I have to figure out where that came from. Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to get these buttons cleaning, and then we'll come take a look at this board here. All right, so I've got the parts all cleaning and drying at the moment. I'm going to take a look at the board here. First thing I'm going to do is cut it. I don't know how much. I'm going to cut it about right here for now, just until we figure out how we want to route it. And these cables are going to be going straight to the new circuit board. Very nice. And almost guaranteed I'm going to be cutting it down. I just don't know exactly how to mount this yet. Also, in the meantime, this board's a little gross. So I'm going to take my 99 toothbrush, clean it up. I'm starting to realize this box cam is a little framey, a little ghosty. I think it's actually running at like 15 FPS and like doing a frame doubling thing. Yeah, look at the ghostiness. Can't win them all, man. Can't win them all. My previous webcam had an issue that would always do some shitty screen tearing stuff. This one's running at 15 FPS. So you can't win them all. Look at the ghosties. That's pretty clean. Yeah, it's not bad. I might do a couple more once-overs here. And I'll be back once all the pieces have dried. Okay, so I'm going to mount the board right about here. These cables are going to go to these points here. And the Gamecube connector, Gamecube cables are going to go over here. So those are going to output pretty much from the same spot that these would have if I mount them here. So seems right. I'm going to hope for the best. And if this doesn't end up being a good format, you likely won't be seeing this. So I'm just going to use some double-sided tape here. Okay, here we go. Remove that. Get these out of the way. And right about there should be good. Perfect. No screw holes? No. Yeah, we're good. Now we're obviously going to want to avoid covering this hole here with wires. And let's take a look at the wiring diagram. Luckily, these, as long as you have a official one, even likely if you have an unofficial one, the color scheme is likely the same, definitely the same if you have an official one. It's going to get a little dicey once we get to the GameCube end there, though. We're going to need to bust out the old multimeter and double check all of our connections. Okay, so here's the wiring diagram here. So for Snes controllers, we got, starting from the top there, that PC5 is yellow, PC4 is orange, PC3 is red, and then we got brown and then white at the very bottom. So I'm going to get that wired up, and then we're going to head on over to the GameCube portion. Okay, so I got it wired up. This is how I ended up routing the cables. Added a dab of super glue underneath the wires here and here just to keep them intact without having to use some tape. Seems pretty good to me. Can't imagine this routing being a problem. And next we're going to need to wire up the GameCube portion. So we're going to take this and we're going to keep this end. The female end here is what we're going to be snipping. Okay. And I believe I'm going to hold on to this just in case I make a receiver with the other circuit, which will need this female end. Wait, will it? No, I won't ever need a female end. Yeah, I'm going to throw this away. No, that will... If I make the receiver, I'll need a female Snes and female Snes and male GameCube. So I'm going to test each pin with a multimeter, and I'm going to link you to the ones that I bought on eBay, the pack of 4 that I got. So I imagine the colors should be the same for you. I got a red, a black, a white, a green, and a yellow. So I want to test the pin out with my multimeter. Get them all identified here. And I'll link you to it, and hopefully you guys can avoid having to do the same. If your wires are different colors, then I imagine you might have to test them all as well and figure out what's what. So I'm gonna get these insulation snipped off. I want to tin these wires. I'm going to test them with the multimeter. And what I mean by that is I'm going to touch one pin, touch pin 1 on the connector here, and then touch the different wires and see which one it is. So let's go back to the diagram. So here's the Gamecube pinout here. So we got ground, data, 5 volts, 3.3 volts, and ground again. Okay, and here's 3.3, data 1, data 2, ground, and 5 volts. Okay, so it says for data we go to data 2, but when in doubt, you can just bridge these two together. Sounds good to me. Okay, so I've identified each of these with the help from the misses. Very hard to do one person here. So GND, black, data is red, 5 volts is white, 3.3 volts is green, and the other ground is yellow. So we're going to twist black and yellow together, solder those up, and red is going to bridge both the data lines. And yeah, let's get that wired up. Okay, we got it. So at the top here, we got green. Next up, I did red, and I jumped red. Was top one's data 2, next one's data. I'm unsure. Likely it's fine with just red here, but just so I don't have to dick around with it later, use some spare EWG 30 to bridge these two together, just so I'm certain I don't have to take it apart again. We got black and yellow twisted together, soldered up, and then soldered to this negative line. And at the very bottom, we got the white cable. Now, let me know if you bought it from where I linked down below and it's not the same color scheme. But you're going to need a friend. I mean, I'd recommend getting someone over to test each cable while you're poking it the other end with the multimeter. Because, yeah, doing that as one person did not seem... It seemed like more of a headache than anything. So yeah, at this point, I want to put it back together and test it out. All right, dudes. So Snes is wired up like this. Into here is the Gamecube extender. Wrap it around this post here. Popping it in like that. I'm going to close her up. Hope for the best here. Alright, so I got my Super Famicom Controller hooked up to the Gamecube. As you can see, it is working out nicely so far. Now, gonna need to check out. All right, so I'm gonna load up GBI. I'll go standard. It's good. Nice, the triggers work to adjust the size here. Keep it like that. Very cool. Start button's working. Load up some Super Puzzle Fighter. Oh, and that brings up that menu. Nice, dude. I'm playing this game one-handed. It isn't very doable. As you can see, it's working as it should. Okay, so up. Goes like auto down. Gotcha. Rotate. Bring up the menu. Very nice, dude. And then the nice touch about having the easy flash in here, all we gotta do is hit reset once we're in Game Boy interface and we're back in it. No BS. Straight into the menu. Load up another game. This is a hell of a setup. Now I want to do one more thing. I want to open it back up. Get this in here a little deeper because the cable is a little bit shorter so it doesn't pinch. We got a bit of wire coming out. So I'm just going to fix that. Get this nice and clean so we don't have individual wires popping out like this. We'll get nice and secure so I don't run into issues. But yeah. $30 DIY Hori pad, basically. Very stoked on this. 10 out of 10 if you've got a GB player. Or if you've got a Nintendo Wii with Wii VC titles, virtual console stuff. Highly recommend doing this mod. Enjoy. Modzville signing out. Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe for more modding content. And I'll catch you guys later.